Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and today we're looking at a 1996 Land Cruiser FRP top. This one here with a 4.3 liter inline 6-cylinder engine. This is the 1HZ engine, known to be extremely reliable. 70 series is the industrial grade version of the Land Cruiser, one of only two types. There's the 40 series and the 70 series. And this one here with the FRP top is the removable top version, which around the world I think is pretty not unpopular, pretty hard to find. Here in Japan, a little bit easier to find, so if you are looking for one, finding one directly from Japan is probably where you're looking. So we have 318,189 kilometers on it. Engine runs perfectly well. Has a little bit of an exhaust leak. I'll show you that in a sec. Switch the engine off for the rest of the report. And just a heads up, this is a post-purchase inspection video, and this truck has been purchased for export. This one here going over to Texas, or at least landing in Texas. Overall condition is, well, really good, and some bad things on it. Now, we knew about the bad things going in. The auction did mention them. There is some rust issues with it. Without the rust, this thing is incredible, though. The body has all been fully repainted. The underside is mostly looking really good. The interior is super duper clean. It looks like something with 120,000 kilometers on it. And these engines, you're good for as long as the body will hold itself together. You don't really have to worry too much about mileage for these 1HZ. You know, I love the 1HD engine, which is the other 4.2 liter inline 6-cylinder that Toyota makes, but the 1HZ, although it's down on power, has a very robust, very sturdy feeling to it, and it really is like nothing else. Now, this one had a little bit of problems with the batteries. Both the batteries on it needed to be replaced before the engine would even start. Once they got replaced, no problems. We also have good oil, good coolant, and this is going to annoy me if it isn't taken down. The auction inspection sheet on a windy day likes to flop around, so you need to quiet yourself, and I'll come back to that in just a second. The batteries are in sequence with one another, not parallel, and so it's a 24 volt, making it really easy to start this in the cold compared to a 12 volt system with a single battery. Now, if you take a peek down here, somebody learned how to weld on the car and has welded up a crack a lot. It's almost comical to take a look at that. So your downpipe may need to be replaced, and because it's just a simple downpipe that's bent like that, you could get a muffler shop to fashion you up something like that. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Timing belt was also changed at 300,000 kilometers, and your little clip here is broken. And the hood likes to have a proper slam in order to close. That wasn't it. Try again. Maybe I'll close that later. I could just push it down like that, but it doesn't actually latch very easily. Okay. We'll come back to you later. It wasn't that hard the last time I closed it, so I might accidentally have something in the way. Actually, this is going to bother me until I figure it out. What's going on here? I think this thing was on the latch. There we go. Wait. Get down there. I'm going to sit on it. That still didn't work. Okay, well, I would say probably the latch needs to be adjusted. I'm not going to spend any more time on that. Anyway, quick look at the vehicle. These things are brilliant. I love, like, the Prado version of the 70 series is very similar to this, but has a different front end. I love the front end here with the closer headlights together. This one looks like it's had the front grille modified to a later Model 1. More on that in a second. Let's go over the auction inspection sheet first. Okay, so it's a 1996 with 318,000 kilometers on it, Land Cruiser. This is a 73. Okay, the HZJ73, 4200cc diesel engine. Auction grade 3.5, interior B, exterior C. No sales points, no notes. And so the auction report here, they show the rust on the body. There's a C2 here, which is medium corrosion. And there's a C1 here. They didn't mention that there's also basically a C1 down here. And then it says end panel has corrosion holes and rear floor corrosion holes. And so I'll show those as well. Windshield rock chip, interior dirty and wear. Underside, seat saggy. Tires in the car, which have been removed already. Frame is rusty and has been painted. Various scratches and dents. 187 kilometers. Doors have marks from being removed, and some sections have been repainted. I think the full body has been repainted, just judging on what it looks like. And it sounds pretty nasty when you take a look at this, corrosion holes and C2 on the body and whatnot. So this was a risk to go with this car. Of course, Land Cruisers are the type of vehicle that you're going to want to restore. You can get them in any condition that you want, and you can be generally pretty happy about it. Of course, one that says corrosion on the body already, you're going to buy for a lower price at auction. And I think that this one's really not too far gone. I think it probably has a few $100s of rust repairs that should be done. Unfortunately, I think you have to take the body off the frame in order to repair it, but I'll show you that in a second. The body, not too bad. I think it's had some rust repairs in the past, and they're creeping back in. You know, it is a 1996, and it is, unfortunately, a Toyota. Not all Toyotas, but the Toyota Land Cruisers, Toyota trucks, they tend to collect rust over time, I would say. Okay, so details here. First off, the stock front bumper, I believe, has been converted over to this aftermarket one. And it's a two-piece bumper that has a fog lamp bar on it. Quite nice looking. There is a version that the bumper and the frame come out further, and then it has a winch as a factory option. This one here, the 73, actually has a little bit of a shorter chassis than that version of it. Okay, we have the older style marker lights and a mirror up here with some paint fade on the top. This mirror here basically gives you a view of what's around here, helpful while you're off-roading. Super off-roader fog lamps. I don't think that those are factory, even though they look very similar to what you might be able to get from factory. And yeah, I love those narrow headlights with the fenders coming off here, all aggressive like. The Prado has the headlights pushed out past, and the whole body line lines up with this. It doesn't have the protruding fender, something like a Jeep, or like a 70 series Land Cruiser does. Okay, the hood has some fade on it in this area, and a few paint stains like this and this. Unfortunately, the hood has to be repainted to fix those. If you didn't want to repaint the whole thing, you can do just black on this section here, and it tends to look incredibly cool, sort of like a racing stripes. Leave this body color, leave all of this body color. I've seen it done a few times. I think it looks incredible. And the hood has a very cool protruding power bulge section in it. Love it. You can flip down the windshield if you take the roof off, which is very cool. And if you do take the roof off, you also have to take the rear doors off. Otherwise, it's going to look really goofy because the rear doors are full size. I know that there are two-piece doors that were available from factory, but not in Japan for the FRP top. Okay, we'll continue going around it just this way, so I'll just talk about everything as I see it. So we're looking pretty good down here. You can see some of the paint wave, perhaps. And then we got a medium dent right here. That's my zipper touching because it's a windy day. Oops. A few scratches inside the door handle. Most of the chrome on the door handles are all in good shape, and the chrome on the mirrors are good too. Although that's not chrome, it's plastic. This one actually is chrome on metal. A few little chips along the edge of the door, and then here's your first C2. Basically, that. And probably a good idea to get that repaired before it gets worse. The frame, for the most part, we're looking really good. It has a texture paint to it, and it doesn't look like it was painted for the purpose of hiding things. It just looks like it was painted to protect it, which is good. So the frame looks like it's been protected pretty well. Side step there has a little bit of damage. Side sills, other than this section here, and right in there. Side sills, I took pictures of the underside. They're looking pretty darn good. Okay. Coming around here, we got a couple of dents. One here. One here. Factory hoop for towing things on the back. It says Cruiser Magazine, and so they probably made cruisers into their hobby, Land Cruisers. Or at least like them enough to subscribe to a magazine. There's a scuff on the edge of the cap there, and this is a factory cap and factory mud flap that says Land Cruiser on it. Would look incredible if you white lettered that, I think. Especially for people that are driving behind you. Well, they wouldn't be able to see them very much. They're not that big of a mud flap. Different size tire here. This is a 205 and this is a 215. The tires come from 2020 and have tons and tons of grip left on them. Okay, coming down here, here's the rust that was not mentioned. But here's the thing, when you see C2 on a body, you have to expect there to be somewhere else on the car that's going to have some sort of rust on it. In this case, right here. So there, corrosion, and some bubbling in this area. So likewise, that's going to need to be repaired. And then again, this sill is all extremely good. The C1 that they did mention on the front fender is right here. So for 318,000 kilometers, the body, I'd say, is pretty decent. Okay, now before we get into the interior, here we can see that exhaust leaky area. You can hear it. I don't know exactly where the exhaust is leaking from. Okay. I want to show you the other rust, which you kind of have to open this door to see. Okay, so right here is the back panel that they said had corrosion holes. So right here there's some corrosion. Here's a corrosion hole. And then some more corrosion here, and then there's a hole underneath here. And then if you go underneath the vehicle, everywhere else that I saw looked excellent. The frame's looking good. The under panels up here are looking good. Not the mount for the muffler. That's rusted off. But if you look up in here, let's see if we can see this properly. A little bit hard because of the contrast, but right where this mount is, if you look up through there, there's some corrosion. Because that's really close to the mount here, you're going to want to get that repaired. Unfortunately, undoing the mount and lifting the body off of the frame to get that. You can see up there, that hole there is the same one that I pointed at from above. And so this area really needs to be concentrated on. You also have a little bit in this area here. And same thing goes on the other side right here. Let's see if we can get... I took a picture of this where it's not as contrasty. Everything just looks really dark here because of the bright day. But there's some rust up in there. The most major one, of course, is this area here. The stuff on the body. Body stuff is generally a little bit easier to handle because you don't have to separate the two pieces, but there is that. Now, for the interior. The back doors are split 60-40, which is a little bit weird, but I guess that's how they fit the tire onto one of them. Most of the time you'll just be opening this one over here. And then this one has the roll cage inside, which isn't on all of them. And in my opinion, you're going to want one with the roll cage in it because you get less squeaks and rattles and just a better driving dynamic from what I've seen. Headliner's looking really good. Here you can see it's bolted in there. That is from the factory. The later model ones all had that, but I don't know which year the crossover was. The trunk's relatively clean. Seats are incredibly clean on this, and it doesn't look like it's been used for cargo purposes. And so everything in here is just looking pretty good. And a 3-point seat belt on the back for only the version that comes with the cage. Okay, some aftermarket speakers are on here, and then the speaker covers are right there. And then it came with this little piece of trim that I don't know where it goes, so I just kind of shoved it in there. This seat can be double flipped out of the way, so this can flip down and then it flips one more time to give you the most amount of cargo room in the back. I suspect most people that are looking at the short wheelbase version of these aren't going to be using those rear seats very often, but they're there if you want them. FRP top. Okay, so timing belt changed in 2021 at 299 to 493 kilometers. It looks like this sticker has been put onto another timing belt replacement sticker that's underneath it. Door cards, extremely good, which is nice to see. It's pretty common for them to get little snags here on the outside, and then a little bit of discoloration on the plastic surrounding the power windows. Power windows work properly. The automatic transmission was slipping a little bit right when I started it up, but after a few seconds, like 6 or 7 seconds, I didn't feel any slipping. But you're going to want to maybe change your transmission fluid. There's some chance that the transmission is going to need to be changed. The seats are gorgeous, and I believe the interior of this one's never been smoked in, which is really saying a lot because these Land Cruisers are very often smoked in. It seems like somebody who likes Land Cruisers also likes smoking cigarettes. There's a little bit of wear on the outside bolster, but it's only very barely saggy, and the seat feels really, really nice. It is a matching seat with the back for the pattern that's on it. And yeah, looking good. And remember, 300,000 kilometers. Looks this good. Smells good. Not like most of them. Has wear on the steering wheel here. Of course, four-wheel drive. This one doesn't have the double locking differentials. That is an option. But on the FRP top, you're not seeing too many of those. And there are a lot of people who want them. Trust me, it is extremely difficult to try to hunt them down. Not that they're super duper rare. I mean, they are rare, but unless you can read Japanese, you don't know which ones have it and which ones don't, making it quite a challenge to try to get one. There are aftermarket options for that, or you can look at dealerships here in Japan that will tell you in the pictures whether it has it or not. There is, where is the button on this version? On the 80 series, it's over here. On the 70 series, I don't know where. I know on the cable locking ones, they're right here. You pull them with your hands, but the non-cable locking one, oh, that's a little bit weird, missing a little plastic bit. I can't remember where the switch is. Anyways, come with a CD player here, tape deck. If you want, you can get one of those tape deck converters to play Bluetooth audio, which is pretty cool. Has a Dream Maker in it, and so welcome Land Cruiser Dreams. And look at this. Inside here, no ashtray, instead a coin holder, and a never used cigarette lighter. And no smell or look of cigarettes on any of the fabrics, which is fantastic. A little bit of wear there. Power steering's perfect. Brakes are perfect. Throttle's perfect. And yeah, dashboard's metal. You don't see that anymore. Look, your glove box is made out of metal. It has a pad on it that's made out of this kind of a plasticky thing, but yeah, this is metal. Behind it is metal. That's metal. Cool, right? A-pillars are metal. Yeah. Back seats, nothing to write home about. Like I said, they're there if you need them. Get a little console here, not that big. Actually, really quite tiny, isn't it? I wonder why it's not deeper. And a couple places to put drinks that are going to definitely flop over, and a place for your wallet up there. It's very utilitarian, which is what a lot of people like about these. It's the world's coming to an end, and you're going to want a Land Cruiser to survive it. Or everyone's going to steal your Land Cruiser when the zombies come. They're going to be like, that's the guy with the Land Cruiser, get him! Okay, well, that's going to be all for this report. I'm going to fiddle around with the hood until I can get that to close properly. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.